Okay, so this is my video of how to create your own cubist effect photograph. This is what we're aiming for, and this is one I prepared earlier. So here we go. Obviously I'm working on a Mac, so you might find it a bit confusing, but the Photoshop's exactly the same. Basically, to open a picture, right click, do open with, and then go to Photoshop. That's exactly the same on the school computers. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is select the whole image. Now I'm going to be using keyboard shortcuts, so just so that you don't get lost, I'm going to run you through them. To copy is Control C, to paste is Control V, and to cut is Control X. To undo is Control Z. They're pretty much the same as with Word and everything else. They're all here in case you need to look for them. The other thing I need to let you know is that the video's cut off the top of Photoshop. You'll find Free Transform under the Edit tab, and Deselect is under the Select tab. To deselect, you just use Control D. That's one you probably won't. So now we've got the image selected, we need to copy it and then open a new canvas, file open. You don't need to worry about adjusting the size, it will do it automatically to whatever on your clipboard is, so you just paste it, it's the right size, and then that's perfect. Now we've opened this just to select from for our final image. Now what we're going to do is, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my canvas horizontally. This just saves me doing it every time I import it in, because obviously Cubism is about perspectives, and sort of flipping something, I suppose, is another kind of perspective. You can turn it upside down, you can play around with effects, skew it, twist it, swirl it, whatever you like, but all I'm going to do is do it horizontally. The two main tools we'll be using today are the polygonal lasso tool and the patch tool. The patch tool is under this menu and it looks like that, and the polygonal lasso tool is under that menu and it looks like that. To select one of these tools, just hold your mouse down on the menu that you want, wait for the sidebar to appear, and then just let go while you're hovering over the tool that you want to select. What I might do first is take, on the image we've already got, is take a triangular section of the picture. If you draw two lines and then double click, it'll automatically join them up for you. Now I'm going to use triangles for my edit. You don't have to use triangles, you can use any shape you want, but I feel like triangles work best. Now I can do this however which way I like. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do is, you see this doesn't really fit in at the moment, so I am going to edit, Free Transform. Now this brings up all this up here, you don't need to worry about that. Can rotate it, which is the most useful thing. To move it, just go into the centre of the square and then you can drag it around. Now I could line it up and make it look all neat and tidy, but that's not what Cubism is about, so I'm going to put it down here. Needs a bit more of a rotate. And then you can also do things like you can stretch it out, although it might pixelate slightly, it's just whether or not that bothers you. Yeah, so there we go. Now you can't just press enter, it's a mistake I always make, but you press the tick. So that's done, so that's our first square done. I said square, it's a triangle. Anyway, moving on. So to deselect that, Control D. I'm going to go back to the tool. I'm going to get a little bit of the apple and this pom-pom thing now. If you don't want to use Mrs. Still Life, I'd recommend making one of your own. You might find it quite interesting. Now this time we're going to do is, another interesting thing is lining up the picture with what's already there, but obviously I've just repeated the pom-pom. We go back to edit, and instead of doing Free Transform, you do Transform, and then you've got all these options here. I'm not going to show you all of them, you can play around in it experiment. That's how I train myself in Photoshop. I'm going to use scale. Now this enables me to squish it, crush it, whatever. So that's that. I've decided that I don't like this effect, so I'm going to go and cancel. It goes back to normal. Now, the important thing to know about layers is just, I was on this one, this controls this, obviously. You can see what it controls there. And if you are getting confused and you think you've got like 20 layers up and you're not sure, you can always click these little eyes and then it will show you this is what is on this layer. Another good thing to know about transform is that if you don't want to bother doing this and flipping it just to make it easier for yourself, you can do it by going on the background as the layer using the lasso tool, for example, and then if you right click you can do layer via copy and you've got that new layer there. Oh, no, sorry, one layer. Got this new layer here. Now obviously that just matches up straight away, so that's not what we need. So if you go to edit, transform, you can do the flip horizontally, flip vertically there. Okay, so the patterns that we're getting at the moment, obviously these have triangles, but also the use of these lines, because that was a key thing in Cubism. You had these lines cutting through all the time. Matching things up, so you can see I've got this line here, and the edge of the apple, and matching that triangle, the edge up to the bottle. You don't have to do that, it's my neurotic thing, I think it makes it look neater, but this is the whole point, it's just to play around. Okay, now, as I said at the beginning, the whole point of Cubism is to look at things from different perspectives. So while these look good, this isn't really Cubism, it's the same picture. So when you take your photographs, and I do recommend you take your own photographs because some of these are a little bit out of focus or they're not of specific objects. So for example, you see this bottle, you take 3 pictures of that bottle from different angles from the top, and then they're your own photographs. I would recommend doing your own still life, something that interests you, something not too complicated. This pattern is really good in this still life because that's something we can repeat later on. But I've got all my other pictures open here, so I'm going to have a flick through these. Let's get some of this apple from that far away angle. If you're feeling a bit lazy, you can make the triangles bigger than I'm making them. Even this doesn't look any different really. Maybe I'll flip that. That's nice. And then daydreamer sitting on the sea, move that to there. He is a real so you don't have to keep your objects next to each other, I think is a key thing to tell you actually. I think in fact if you've got the apple repeated a few times it could almost work better. Right, I'm going to pause the video now. I'm going to do a bit more to this. I'm going to cubism it up. That's basically I think what you need to know for now. So just some quick reminders to find the polygonal, I don't even know, lasso tool. It will probably look like this to start with. It's the third one down. Hold it with your mouse, drag onto the lasso, whatever, and then just let go. Taking sections of your own thing. For example, if I do this and then try and copy it, it will tell me could not complete the copy command because the selected area is empty. If you get that up, don't panic. You haven't deleted your image and not realised. Just press OK. And then go to, it's because you're on the wrong layer, and in this layer, obviously there's nothing here. This is the whole of the layer. So just make sure that you select background, then press Ctrl Control C, Control V, and you can move that to wherever you so desire. The only other thing I'd say is if you are getting a bit confused about your layers and they're worrying you, but you're happy with how your image looks at the moment, like I like this with the clock, I like the apple, I like the bottle, that didn't really make any difference whatsoever, that's fine. All you do is right click on any layer and do merge visible, and then you'll see that flattens into a background. And I'll just undo that, and then if you think that this layer is still not right, un-eye it and then do merge visible, and that's still a separate layer. Okay, so it'll be a second for you, but I'm going to go finish this. See you in a moment. Hello, this is my cubified image, and I'm just going to point out a few things to you. The first is that in the corner you may see I've added a jug. It's only there it is. It's only in the corner in the original image, but I thought I'd bring that in from another photograph. Also, the interesting shape of this handle on the image that you originally flipped horizontally, and can be really helpful to play around with filters. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so what you do is you go to filter, distort, and I used pinch. I would say don't use a filtered image as your base image, because you have to be able to paint it. It's much better to have a few distorted things than have a crazy picture you have no chance of painting. Right, this is the lazy way to finish it off, just to add that sort of effect. Now make sure that you've done left click and merge visible so that you've got one layer, it's very important. And then up here, I won't move it down, just make sure patch is on source and not destination, so you do patch, source. Now I've deliberately chosen an image where there isn't a lot around the edges for me to have to fill in, but I'll show you nonetheless. I'll take this corner here, which I think is a bit boring. Now it won't work if you click anywhere outside of here, it'll start drawing a new patch, so you've got to be inside the patch, then right click, and then you drag this echo around to any part of the screen you like, let go, it will patch that section onto your original section. So if I deselect, you can see now I have this rather interesting effect down here. I think this section of fabric here is a little dull, so I select that, and I might repeat my jug and on apple. I'll go for that section. On the school computers this might take a while just because they're so slow, but hopefully it'll be okay. Now it does give us this nice transparent effect. You might decide you don't want that because of having to paint it. You might think it's too challenging. Whatever. This bit, for example, I might more umbrella here. I think I'm going to have some more of these lines. Obviously I haven't taken as much time on this one as I did on the original that I showed you at the beginning of the slideshow. Well, film, not slideshow. But I think you'll see that even this, which doesn't, as someone who's used to Photoshop, doesn't take me that long, it's quite effective and it does have an air of cubism about it. I'm just going to do this bit here finally with the patch tool. Drag it over here. Patch tool is really simple, that's literally all you need to know. And that's the patch tool section of this video complete. Okay, hello, this is the last bit. I'm going to do this really quickly because I know you're probably bored. I've made the image more contrasty, above the vibrance, and this is all you have to do. You go to Image, Adjustments, and here you've got all the tools. Levels is really easy. Once Levels comes up, you literally just faff around with these. That you can do, pretty much do everything you want to edit. That's quite interesting, just with levels. Let's cancel that. You also got Image, Adjustment, Vibrance. Vibrance doesn't really do much here, it's the saturation that I like the look of. For example, vibrance just adds a bit of heat. The last thing I think is really worth getting to grips with is curves. I don't understand how these work, you don't really need to, just to get some really interesting effects, just pulling these around. Basically do lots of different edits, whack them in your sketchbook, the examiner will tick the hell out of it. It's just shows that you know Photoshop and you know how to experiment. Okay, that's pretty much all from me. Have a lovely 2 years. I look forward to seeing all of your work. One of you have to take photography. It's absolutely fantastic, best subject I did. Yeah, so enjoy this Cubism project.